Coming up in today's show, we take a look at the insurance plan designed to support Jamaican creatives. Then, with summer around the corner, we'll share tips to help you enjoy your trips to the beach safely. And later, we'll break down how to navigate online content by learning to spot the difference between real videos and deepfakes. I'm Theodore Henry, and I'll be with you throughout this Wednesday edition of Jamaica Magazine. Stay tuned.
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, June 24, 2026. Jamaica and Suriname have initiated bilateral talks for the exchange of knowledge in oil and gas exploration. Discussions were held today by Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness and Suriname's President Jennifer Simons. Dr. Holness is in the South American country for the 6th edition of the Suriname Energy, Oil and Gas Summit and Exhibition. Speaking at a press briefing with President Simons this morning, the Prime Minister highlighted Suriname's 40-year experience of exploration to discovery.
You know the experience. You have been developing your gas and oil fields for over 40 years. So from the point of discovering potential to discovering that there are commercial quantities to be able to exploit those, it's a long time. And we are interested in learning from your journey. To shorten ours. So a part of our bilateral discussion was to cooperate on the exchange of learning, exchange of knowledge and information.
Dr. Holness also gave an update on the status of Jamaica's own oil exploration efforts.
So far, the results have shown that there is the possibility of an active petroleum system offshore in some of the areas of exploration. We have not confirmed anything yet. There is no confirmation of any commercial quantities, but it is promising.
Meanwhile, addressing day 2 of the summit, Prime Minister Holness congratulated Suriname on its latest oil discovery, which contains more than 1 billion barrels of oil equivalent.
This is the largest investment in your nation's history, but it is more than just a Surinamese milestone. When one of our nations in the region rises, the entire region rises. So, on behalf of Jamaica, I say to Suriname, congratulations. We are proud of you and we stand with you.
Jamaica and Suriname have also discussed partnerships in tourism, agriculture, trade and investment, and the movement of skilled labor, among other things. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett has announced a series of airline agreements designed to increase airlift to and from Jamaica. Giving his sectoral speech in Parliament on Tuesday, Minister Bartlett said these were expected to create greater opportunities for both visitors and Jamaicans traveling abroad. The new arrangements include expanded service by Virgin Atlantic to 7 flights weekly from Heathrow. Flights on British Airways from Gatwick will also increase to 4 per week, and Copa Airlines flights from Panama will move up to 14 per week. Minister Bartlett says the changes are expected by January 2027 and will strengthen Jamaica's connectivity with key international markets.
It is also including new services from Wingo out of Medellin, Breezes out of Tampa, Porter out of Toronto, Ottawa and Hamilton, Air Canada from Halifax, Ottawa, Edmonton and Winnipeg, and enhanced regional connectivity from Guadeloupe. And the importance of that one, small as it may be, is it connects to France, Madam Speaker, to Paris for the first time. So this is a signal of confidence. It tells us that our airline partners believe in Jamaica, that consumer demand was held, and that recovery is being organized with purpose.
Through public-private partnerships, the Spanish Town Hospital has been gifted critical medical equipment for its urology department. They include an ultrasound machine donated by head of the urology department, Dr. Elon Thompson, along with the prostate biopsy equipment and biopsy gun donated by IRAD Medical Supplies. Dr. Thompson says the equipment will help doctors diagnose prostate cancer earlier and move patients into treatment more quickly, improving survival rates and outcomes.
This is one of the key missing components for us as a service, especially with the prevalence of prostate cancer. And this will go a far way in helping us to treat patients with the earlier diagnosis, and I'm happy that I'm able to donate it.
The hospital also received a sequential compression device from Sunrise Medical Limited. The device helps improve blood circulation, reduce swelling, and prevent blood clots in patients with limited mobility.
To all our sponsors and partners who have contributed to today's event and supported the department throughout the years, thank you.
The Kingston and St. Andrew Municipal Corporation, KSAMC, is increasing the allocations to divisions for road repairs, mitigation initiatives, employment programs, and emergency response activities across the municipality. Under the KSAMC's Divisional Allocation Fund, urban divisions now have access to $13 million each, while rural divisions are getting $13.5 million. Mayor of Kingston, Councillor Andrew Swaby, says the adjustment was approved after careful consideration by the corporation's Finance Committee.
The increase in the DAF is therefore a tangible demonstration of that progress and reflect our commitment to strengthen the capacity of councillors to undertake priority projects and respond more effectively to the needs and concerns of communities.
Mayor Swaby was speaking at the KSAMC's recent monthly meeting. Jamaicans at home and abroad are being encouraged to take advantage of property investment opportunities through the National Housing Trust, NHT, which currently has approximately 15,000 acres of land available for development and investment. The call was made by Assistant General Manager for Corporate Communications and Public Affairs, Dwayne Burbick. He was speaking at the recently concluded Jamaica Diaspora Conference during a session titled Investing in Jamaica's Property Market, Opportunities for the Diaspora. Mr. Burbick highlighted that the NHT had prime acreage along the corridor earmarked for highway expansion from Mandeville into St. Elizabeth and Western Jamaica. He also explained how the NHT had simplified the process for Jamaicans overseas to make their contribution through its online platform.
They're moving from probably like 7 forms to register and to start contributing to one single form. And once you fill that out within our NHT online facility, you're able to make your contribution payments safely. I must add that. That's part of the digital age. We have to ensure that we're doing business safely. But also when it comes to accessing your benefits as well, you're able to use that portal to start the process with us. You can start submitting documents through the portal, and we perhaps just need to see you one time through the process when it comes to mortgage signing, because we have to ensure that Lisa is who Lisa really is.
Yes. Interested persons are encouraged to visit the NHT's website for more information on available investment opportunities and contribution requirements. And finally, 4 teams from the Heart NSTA Trust are preparing to represent Jamaica at the 48th World Skills Competition in Shanghai, China this September. The teams recently completed a 5-day international training camp aimed at strengthening their skills ahead of the global competition. World Skills Jamaica Technical Delegate Dwayne Bent says the camp focused on 2 key areas of the competition: autonomous mobile robotics and unmanned aerial systems. The participants were trained alongside teams from Brazil, Barbados, China, and Singapore, providing valuable opportunities for Jamaica to learn from some of the world's top-performing competitors.
Our compatriot teams that are here are of the highest caliber. We have China, who has topped the medals for the last 3 years, coming away with over 54 medals, and Singapore who came away with well over 20 medals in the last competition. So they are formidable teams through which Jamaica can build capacity and learn. And we are happy to have them here because our experts, our training system on a whole will benefit from this development.
Managing Director of the Heart NSTA Trust, Dr. Tanisha Ingleton, says the competition is more than winning medals. It's about developing highly skilled, professional and work-ready young people.
It's not trophies for us. It is about lifting the level, raising the bar, creating young people who are excellent to be hired. Young people who are excellent individuals with the non-cognitive skills of professionalism, of understanding how to speak with authority, of understanding how to show up early for work. When you get the opportunity at the international level, it does that for you.
The training camp was organized by WorldSkills Jamaica in partnership with Canada-based Studica Robotics. And that's it for JIS News today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Jamaica's creatives contribute greatly to the nation's economy and culture. To help protect them and their livelihoods, an insurance plan has been introduced for entertainers and creatives. Watch this feature to learn more.
Jamaica's entertainment and creative industries are a central part of who we are as a people and to the country's economic life. From music and dance to film and fashion, believe it or not, thousands of Jamaicans earn a living through creative work. Yet for many years, those who entertained the nation often did so without basic protection. Unlike traditional employees, many entertainers and creatives work independently without sick leave, health coverage, or life insurance. A single illness or injury has often meant financial hardship. In recent years, steps have been taken to change that. One of those initiatives is the Jamaica Entertainers and Creatives Insurance Plan, otherwise known as JSIP. The plan was developed after years of discussion aimed at improving access to insurance for entertainers and creatives.
It is our expectation that through this deliberate action, artists and creative practitioners will take advantage of this scheme and so reduce their vulnerability to adversity and death, as has been the current experience.
Guardian Life Insurance was selected to administer the plan, working in partnership with the ministry to deliver coverage to entertainers and creatives across the island.
We are equally committed to working with the ministry to ensure our contribution to the development of the nation, while exemplifying the importance of creative industry and the benefits and protection that will come from this plan.
Phase 1 of JSIP was launched in 2024, providing free life and personal accident insurance to registered entertainers and creatives. The coverage is non-contributory, meaning no monthly payments are required from those enrolled in the program.
In this phase 1 of the insurance, we will cover free of costs to you death benefit up to $500,000 under group life and personal accident. Personal accident up to $500,000 and 1 to 100% of death benefit depending on the injury. The plan covers registered persons from 6 to 75 jillion with the option to extend to 99 years old.
In 2025, the program expanded to include group health insurance, offering benefits such as hospitalization, surgery, maternity care, and overseas medical coverage for creatives who work both locally and internationally.
Jamaica is the first CARICOM country to introduce such a program. Now, with an estimated 29.5 million people working in the creative and cultural industries worldwide, and over $2.2 billion in revenue. Creative workers constitute the driving force of the creative and cultural industry, contributing to global economic development and job creation.
This is an amazing movement by the ministry and by Guardian Life and all who is involved, because I've been here before ska, rocksteady, reggae, and dancehall. And of course, we have seen our brothers and our sisters all gone down a road like none of us want to go down that road.
For creatives working at every stage of the industry, the impact of the program is already being felt.
My community members here in Charlestown, they're excited. They got the cards and they start using their cards because it's the financial burden that was on us for health. We could not sufficiently manage and navigate our lives properly, and this did actually help reduce it a lot. So you see persons actively going to get their glasses, getting dental care, as well as regular medical and pharmaceutical care.
I'm going to say it's incredible because for many years, some of our older musicians and artists may not be able to afford some of the expenses that come with aging. And to know that our Minister of Culture is taking the time out to make that huge step for our musicians and creators in Jamaica, it's incredible.
Registration and further details are available through the National Registry of Entertainment and Creative Industries Practitioners, also known as the e-registry, at mcges.gov.jm.
This is intended to make things work better for you and doing more for you, and I hope you appreciate and welcome it.
Summer is here. Discover practical tips for enjoying Jamaica's beaches safely while helping to protect the coastal environment. Learn more next.
The beach, the sunshine, sea breeze, the sound of waves, and memories you want to savor. But have you ever stopped to think, is everyone enjoying the beach safely and responsibly? Whether you're a strong swimmer or just dipping your toes, water safety matters for everyone. Every year, millions visit our water bodies, which include our beaches, rivers, and waterfalls, but not everyone knows the risks. Rip currents, sudden depth changes, slippery rocks, strong undercurrents, and a host of other hazards. But these dangers can be mitigated.
There is a Beach Control Safety Measures Regulation of 2006, and that regulation speaks specifically to the requirements for safety on the beach for patrons. The regulations speak to the question of lifeguards being on the beach, the roles and responsibilities of the lifeguard to ensure that they have control over what's happening on the beach. And so when you go to a beach, you want to ensure that the area is buoyed and that we have lifeguards.
And don't forget, risky behavior like cliff diving or swimming after drinking, not worth it. Also, never swim alone, and non-swimmers must always wear a life jacket.
When visiting beaches, it's important to ensure that you're swimming where lifeguards are present. Never swim alone, always have somebody with you just in case. Remember to stay hydrated, wear the proper sunscreen, make sure that it's reef safe if you can. Always keep a good eye, keep an eye out for children or those around you. Never go do anything unsupervised and just have fun, you know. It's supposed to be a fun time and you can have fun and be safe at the same time.
Using our water bodies safely isn't just about currents and waves or slippery rocks. Marine and freshwater life can also pose risks. Some of our rivers are home to crocodiles, so caution should be taken when taking a dip, and be sure to look out for caution signs regarding wildlife. Jamaica is home to sharks, and while encounters are rare, it's best to be extra cautious during early mornings and late afternoons when visibility is lower and certain species may be more active. Beachgoers should stay alert to local conditions, avoid swimming alone or in secluded areas, and follow any posted safety guidelines. Jellyfish stings can be painful and sometimes life-threatening, so it's important to look out for warning flags or signs on the beach. Fire coral, though it looks harmless, can cause severe skin irritation if touched. By staying alert, following safety notices, and respecting marine life, we can protect ourselves while enjoying the beauty of the ocean. Lifeguards are the first line of defense along our shores, and so the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA has engaged hundreds of rescuers through training sessions and ensuing exams.
The training exam has been perfect actually. It's been very strict.
Our role is instructing young persons with knowledge, judgment, and skill, I say in the art and the profession of life-saving and lifeguarding.
What I've learned is that you have to be very focused and observant, because if, for instance, there is someone drowning out there, they can't be able to talk or indicate to someone otherwise from just putting up their hands. So if we as lifeguards can be more observant in the field, we can look out for those incidents and try to save life.
Swim in safe zones, keep an eye on the little ones, listen to advice from community members, and remember, if you're unsure, ask a lifeguard. A few small choices can make a big impact on our marine life and your safety. Our actions, good or bad, make a big difference in how we balance recreation and conservation when we use our rivers and beaches.
Package your waste and so that it can be collected and disposed of at the proper location, the proper waste disposal site. The public also need to be aware of the importance of our coastal vegetation, as an example, our mangroves, our seagrass along our beaches. They are important in stabilizing our coastal environment.
Our beaches are treasures, not just for today, but for generations to come. So, let's keep them safe and clean. For more details, contact the National Environment and Planning Agency NEPA. There's also a beach guide webpage where you can access information about Jamaica's beaches, beach safety tips, and ongoing beach cleanup initiatives.
Looks fun, right? Just take a second to think before you jump. It might look safe, but hidden rocks and shallow waters are real dangers. One bad jump can change everything. You can't always see what's under the surface. That's why it's never a good idea to dive into unknown waters. Always go in feet first and stay safe. I promise the thrill isn't worth the risk.
AI is here to stay. Up next, we explore the growing role of artificial intelligence and share tips to help you identify deepfakes and protect yourself from online misinformation.
Good morning, Jamaica. Or is it? What if I told you that for the last 10 seconds, you weren't actually looking at me, but a digital puppet programmed to mimic my every blink? In a world of generative AI, seeing is no longer believing. We're living in an era of deepfakes. Videos so polished they can make anyone say anything, anywhere, or at any time. But today, we are going to learn how to see through the pixels. Before we get into the meat of the matter, let us first get some definitions out of the way. Artificial intelligence, AI. I'm sure you've heard this quite frequently over the last couple of months. Now, this refers to computer systems designed to perform tasks that typically require human intelligence, such as learning, problem solving, speech recognition, and of course, decision making. For example, a streaming platform recommending movies based on what you've previously watched. Neural networks. Now, these are computing systems inspired by the human brain that helps AI recognize patterns, make predictions, and generate realistic outputs. For example, photo apps that automatically enhance lighting or remove blur. Generative AI refers to AI systems that can create new content such as text, images, music, or videos based on patterns learned from existing data. For example, AI tools that write essays or social media captions. Datasets. Now, these are large collections of information used to train AI systems so that they can learn how to perform specific tasks. For example, collections of written articles used to train AI writing tools. Lastly, deepfakes. Now, these are synthetic media created using AI to manipulate or generate visual and audio content, making it appear that a person said or did something they never actually did. For example, a fake video showing a public figure making a statement they never actually made. And of course, for further research, you may look into machine learning, ML, and deep learning. Understanding these terms will help provide the foundation needed to explore how AI and deepfakes are created, how they are used, and the ethical and social issues they raise. Now, creating a convincing deepfake involves combining artificial intelligence with video editing techniques to manipulate audio, facial expressions, and context. This process typically requires training models on large datasets to imitate specific traits, often using generative adversarial networks, GANs, to produce realistic results. Creating a deepfake is like building a digital mask. It usually involves 3 layers. First, the voice.
My name is Shion McCoy and I manipulated my voice for the purpose of this example.
That is a voice clone. It takes just a few seconds of real audio to train an AI to speak in your voice. Layer 2, the face swap. This maps one person's expressions onto another person's head. And finally, the most dangerous layer, context. A real video of a protest might be edited to look like a riot, or a simple sneeze is slowed down to make someone look intoxicated. So, how do we protect ourselves? Look for the digital fingerprints. Watch the edges of the face. Do the glasses blur when they turn? Does the jewelry flicker? AI still struggles with fine details in these outputs. Believe it or not, early deepfakes rarely blinked. If someone is talking for 2 minutes without a single blink, they're probably a bot. If a world leader says something life-changing, it will not just be on a random TikTok account. It will be on the evening news and every major newspaper or reputable source. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used to build or to break. Do not let a clever algorithm decide what is true for you. Check the source, verify the clip, and remember, in the digital age, your curiosity is your best defense. Stay sharp.
This has been Jamaica Magazine. Thanks for tuning in, and do join us again tomorrow for another program highlighting the government's policies and initiatives aimed at building a better Jamaica. To rewatch this program or catch up on previous shows, visit our website at jis.gov.jm. I'm Theodore Henry, thanking you for watching on behalf of the entire production team here at the JIS.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.